Somebody who was, I think, potentially fomenting a new revolutionary war with the Brits from last week, who was on BBC, otherwise known as the Bimbo Broadcasting Company, now famously known as the Bimbo Broadcasting Company, is Mike Davis. Now, we have so much to speak with Mike about. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll start with that. Well, because Mike's got such a great history with the Brits, why don't we start with that clip? Joining us now, the great Mike Davis. Oh, Mike, we are so happy to have you on the program. Hot as a pistol. I think you may be banned from the United Kingdom, my friend.
Well, that's their loss, because when I'm Trump's viceroy, I could establish very good diplomatic relations with the United Kingdom, but whatever.
For those who are unfamiliar, and I think that would be very few people, but Mike was brought on the BBC last week and decided to give a crash course in the Constitution, the First Amendment, and in just basic legal theory, and led to the BBC anchor breaking into tears, I think, live on camera, and the BBC effectively cutting the feed because Mike Davis, not since the Battle of Bunker Hill have we seen a greater attack on the United Kingdom from an American, or Yorktown, I guess, perhaps would be the Revolutionary War battle. Can you talk me through like what's been the reaction to that? I think we have a couple clips lined up from that, but please, the BBC reached out to you. It was instant regret.
Yeah, well, the BBC reached out to me through LinkedIn and asked me to go on their show, which I'm happy to go on any of these liberal shows and destroy them like I've done on CNN and now BBC. MSNBC has had me on for like an hour, but not actually me, just clips on shows like yours, Ben. But I went on this show and I didn't realize what I was walking into. They had a bimbo porn star before me. And so I'm in their, green room online listening to this bimbo porn star talk about how she worked with Stormy Daniels to do a threesome with Donald Trump, which is just complete garbage, right? And so then they put me on, and this British woman who's acting all prim and proper and British is trying to get me to respond to this bimbo porn star. And so I spent the next few minutes just constantly calling her a bimbo porn star. And the BBC reporter said that she didn't like that I was calling her a bimbo porn star. So I called her a bimbo porn star like 4 or 5 more times. And then at the end of my hit, they had the bimbo porn star on to respond to my attacks.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a supercut of Mike Davis. If you're unfamiliar, it's worth playing. Mike, I hate to go away from you when you're live here, but let's just do really quickly. Here's Mike's performance on the BBC.
And this bimbo porn star say that
I think calling a bimbo porn star is pretty offensive.
You just had a bimbo porn star come out and accuse President Trump of trying to have a threesome with Stormy Daniels. This woman is so credible that the prosecutor doesn't want to call her in to be a witness.
Let's just be quite clear.
Can't respond to Stormy Daniels and this bimbo porn star you just had on who made that malicious smear against President Trump. He can't respond to that or he goes to jail. And frankly, the BBC should be ashamed of itself that you just put a bimbo porn star on.
I think we get the message. I think we get the message about how you're addressing her. Thank you very much for doing this.
What would you call her?
I would call her a woman who happens to be either a film star or she has a job. I don't think that you've any particular locus in this.
She definitely has a job.
So it's just why. This is what this case. In this case, we have a Soros-funded Manhattan DA, Alvin Bragg, who campaigned on getting Trump, a Biden senior political appointee and a former DNC political consultant and a former Obama White House and Justice Department political appointee, Matthew Colangelo, bringing these bogus charges against Trump after the prior Manhattan DA, the Manhattan U.S. Attorney, the Federal Election Commission, and Bragg himself declined to bring these bogus charges. And their star witnesses are a porn star, Stormy Daniels, who's changed her story several times and is making money on her penned Twitter tweet where she's peddling her porn videos. And then you have this disbarred, disgraced serial perjurer and felon, disbarred attorney, Michael Cohen, who's changed his story several times and is raising money off TikTok. And that wasn't bad enough. Now you have this bimbo porn star who can't even make the A team. They won't even bring her in to testify because she's such a whack job. And now she's going on the BBC. Just imagine when the producer called this bimbo porn star and said, "Hey, do you want to come on the BBC?" And she said, "Of course, I do it all the time." And so of course they put her on the BBC.
Maybe this is what Michael Cohen's trying to do here in this image. Maybe he's auditioning for the royal court to get knighted. Do you think, Mike?
I have competition to be Trump's viceroy, apparently, with Michael Cohen. I need to start wearing the costumes like Michael. I mean, look at this clown. This is their star witness today. This complete clown who is a serial perjurer, a convicted felon, a disbarred attorney. He's changed his story several times. And really, at the end of the day, even if Trump paid off this nuisance claim to Stormy Daniels to make her go away, it's not a crime. It is routine for business people to settle nuisance claims. If it were a crime to settle a nuisance claim, there would be a lot of my former clients who are businessmen who I settled their nuisance claims with non-disclosure agreements who would be in prison right now. This is a bogus case against President Trump. They waited how many years? 7 years to bring these charges against Trump based upon a 2017 settlement of a nuisance claim. And his accountants booked the settlement as a legal expense. What the hell else would you call it? I mean, that's what it is a legal expense. And they're timing this trial so Trump is stuck in a courtroom for 2 months instead of on the campaign trail. This is obviously Democrat lawfare and election interference. And if you look at even the New York Times new polling out today, Trump is beating Biden in every swing state. This lawfare, this election interference is backfiring, and the Article 3 Project has predicted that and made that happen with over 3,500 media hits supporting and defending Trump over the last 22 months since the Mar-a-Lago raid. We're going to ensure that these Democrat prosecutors and these Democrat judges and these Democrat witnesses and these Democrat operatives and these Democrat hellholes like New York, D.C., and Atlanta pay a severe political, legal, and financial price for this obvious conspiracy to take out Trump.
So pivoting, obviously to what you said about Michael Cohen here, some are saying that Alvin Bragg is suborning perjury by putting a known liar on the stand who nobody knows what the truth is now, right? So he's lied multiple times about this thing. Earlier in the show, we put up the letter from his attorney saying that Donald Trump had nothing to do with the payment and it was made entirely by himself and that it wasn't a campaign violation and that he was never compensated for it. Are you lying then or are you lying now? Is Alvin Bragg potentially opening himself up for prosecutorial misconduct here?
Yeah, he's Alvin Bragg and Matthew Colangelo and Judge Juan Merchan, who's corrupt, who should have recused because his daughter, Lauren Merchan, is raising money as a Democrat consultant, a Democrat fundraiser. She is raising millions of dollars off of her father's unprecedented trial over a former and likely future president. It requires Judge Merchan's recusal under New York statute. That's not just crazy Mike Davis saying that. A former federal Clinton judge from New York went on Caitlin Collins' show on CNN on April 5th and said Judge Merchan clearly has to recuse because his daughter, Lauren's, raising money off this trial. He's refused to recuse. Instead, he retaliated against Trump by expanding this illegal, unconstitutional gag order. This is a criminal conspiracy against rights, a very serious federal civil rights crime, up to 10 years in prison, 18 USC 241. And when Trump's back in office, his acting attorney general, I'll be the viceroy, don't worry, it's not going to be me, needs to open a criminal probe on this on day one, because this is blatant lawfare and election interference. These are republic-ending tactics. And again, if these Democrat prosecutors and judges and witnesses and operatives, both inside government and outside of government, do not pay severe legal, political, and financial price for this, this will never end.
So it's really unique what's happening right now in the political landscape, and you have predicted it. And I've got to tell you, at certain moments, even my faith faltered a bit, but this ain't working, man. Before you came on, we played you this Fareed Zakaria, this visceral Trump hater on CNN, saying it's all blown up in our faces. This is backfired, and it's time to accept that.
Yeah,
That the American people don't like lawfare, and that they have sniffed this out and said and found Democrats wanting. And this whole shell game that, like, Biden's not involved. Trust us, we're not involved. We just have meetings with Jack Smith every second Tuesday of the month to tell him what to do. Meetings with Fani Willis. Send Michael Colangelo to New York to staff up this bull case. It's. I think that people have, like, the backfire is now officially here. I think it's just getting started. I think it's going to get much worse. The New York Times predicting 270 for Donald Trump today.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to get so bad as we've predicted for 22 months. You're going to see President Biden bleed out young black male support, and that is going to be devastating to Biden. Remember, the black Americans make up 13% of the population. They vote 95% Democrat. Democrats say Republicans will never win the black vote. Well, guess what? We don't need to. If you change that number from 95% to 85% for Biden, that's a 1.3% swing. If you get below 85%, there's no chance that Biden can win. Look, Biden is toast. He is cooked after this polling. There is no way. They're going to have to throw Biden overboard and bring someone else in.
Yeah. Throwing it overboard. That's the thing. Yeah, we have a meme being made of you right now where you're doing the Boston Tea Party. This is the worst offense since the Boston Tea Party, actually, to the English crown, is what you did on the BBC. We've been working on this, Mike. I'm not sure we'll have it done by the time of this interview, but we'll send it to you. Hopefully, you'll post it on X. So now that the backlash is officially here, we'd love to give MSNBC another clip. I want to set the table, and perhaps you could correct me. Obviously, Mike, you're the professional here. I just went to Kirkwood Community College. Is there anything that's going correctly for Joe Biden, Merrick Garland, Eric Holder, and the attempt, and Jack Smith across the legal landscape right now? It seems like everything is in full-scale collapse, but even worse, the Uno reverse is happening, where you have a lot of people looking into Fani Willis now. You have a hearing scheduled for Jack Smith. Are you even a legal special counsel? Like, is it even legal for you to be special counsel? Eileen Cannon just booked that. This is like panic mode. Like, this is full scale collapse. Am I wrong?
No, the Democrats' House of Cards has collapsed, and all they're left with is a bimbo porn star and a disgraced, disbarred, serial perjurer and convicted felon as the star witnesses by this corrupt judge, Juan Merchan, who should have recused from this case because his adult daughter's raising millions of dollars off of it. You have Alvin Bragg, the Soros-funded Manhattan DA who campaigned on getting Trump. And then you have this former Biden political operative, Matthew Colangelo. This is collapsing on. This was their worst. Out of all four of the criminal cases, this case in New York was their worst, dumbest case. It was like during the Kavanaugh confirmation when they couldn't just stick to Christine Blasey Ford, who was lying through her teeth, but she was the most credible. They had to bring in 5 others, including Michael Avenatti, Stormy Daniels' former attorney, and Julie Swetnick. And that's when that all backfired, and we got Kavanaugh confirmed and sent 4 Senate Democrats packing in an off-year election. When Democrats won the House, we took out 4 Senate Democrat incumbents. We picked up 2 seats in the Senate, and a historical feat. And oh, by the way, that allowed us to confirm Justice Amy Coney Barrett to replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg and transform the Supreme Court for the first time in 90 years. So I'm glad the Democrats are playing this game, because frankly, if they wouldn't have indicted Trump, if they would have just let him go to Mar-a-Lago and wrote a nasty report and left him alone, he would not be the leading presidential candidate right now. He would have retired. And guess what? They went after him and they turned him into Nelson Mandela. They turned him into a legend. He's peeling off Biden's black base, and Trump's going to win by a landslide on November 5th, 2024. So thank you to these Democrats.
Thank you, Fani Willis. The mugshot hangs proudly in our studio, and I used Trump's mugshot to wrap some of my Christmas presents for my family members. So Mike, you'll be getting a big Christmas present from our team this year. The audience just absolutely loves you. I do want to focus on something really quickly that you just said. You don't think Trump would have run for president if they hadn't have like gone at him with this lawfare? You think it's backfired that badly? That's remarkable.
I seriously doubt that Trump would have run again. His polling was too devastated after he left office. I don't think he would have won the primary if they didn't do this lawfare against him. And once they went after him, I said, you know what? They're going to make Trump the nominee. We're going to turn lemons into lemonade, and we're going to put him back into the White House.
Wow. So the first day of your viceroyship, what happens to Jack Smith?
Oh, Jack Smith is so fired on day one, and he's going to be he has to be part of the Trump 47 Justice Department's criminal probe. Whoever Trump brings in as his acting attorney general on day one, that acting attorney general must open a criminal probe on this criminal conspiracy against rights under 18 U.S.C. 241. And remember what the Democrats always say, no one is above the law. And that criminal conspiracy needs to include these Democrat judges and these Democrat prosecutors and these Democrat witnesses and these Democrat operatives, including inside and outside of the government, who are conspiring to violate the civil rights of President Trump, his top aides like Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon, his attorneys like John Eastman and Jeff Clark, and his supporters on January 6th. These Democrats have politicized and weaponized our justice systems at every level to go after political enemies, and that is unacceptable. They crossed the Rubicon. The only way we come back from this is the most severe legal, political, and financial consequences. And that's going to start on January 20th, 2025. So these Democrats inside government and those Democrats outside of government, like Andrew Weissman, lawyer up, kiddos.
Just such mean shit talk, Mike. I just love it. It's just the meanest. I'd love it. I love it. We need more of it, actually. Like right here, right now, on the mat. Any place, anywhere, anytime. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to fight fire with somebody who's on fire right now, please go and support the Article 3 Project. Please go and support Mike Davis and his work. He has taken this tour international for anyone who dares have him. And Mike, we consider you a friend, and very proud of you, buddy. This is your moment, man.
Thank you, Ben.
All right. Take care, man. Godspeed. Mike Davis, just the flamethrower. Just rolling through. We'll have memes for him next time. We'll have the memes for him next time. We're gonna make a whole suite of maybe Mike Davis, like from The Patriot, maybe Mel Gibson, Mike Davis versus the British. It's gonna be extremely exciting, ladies and gentlemen.